fame, fortune, and freedom. Three things many people dream of, but for some celebrities, that freedom was traded for prison bars and lengthy sentences. Today, we're diving into the dark side of celebrity life with 10 celebrities who are in jail for a long time. From beloved TV stars to chart-topping musicians, these famous figures once had it all until shocking crimes changed their lives forever. Before we begin, remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. Now, let's count down the fallen stars whose actions landed them behind bars for decades. Number 1. Actor Danny Masterson. Masterson is best known for playing Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show from 1998 to 2006. He also was a regular cast member on Men at Work and The Ranch, which reteamed him with That 70s Show co-star Ashton Kutcher. In 2017, the Los Angeles Police Department began an assault investigation into Masterson after 3 women came forward with allegations against him. In each case, all of which occurred at Masterson's home between 2001 to 2003, the women said Masterson gave them alcohol and then, when they became disoriented, took them to his bedroom and violently beat them. Masterson, who proclaimed his innocence, was arrested on 3 counts of forcible rape in early 2021. A first trial in 2022 ended in a hung jury. A retrial the following year ended with Masterson convicted of 2 of the 3 counts of forcible rape. He was sentenced to 30 years to life, with the earliest possibility of being paroled coming after serving 25.5 years. He is incarcerated in California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo, roughly halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. An interesting element of this case involved the Church of Scientology, of which Masterson and all 3 victims were members. All 3 victims said the church tried to shield Masterson from accountability and pressured them not to go to the authorities. As BuzzFeed News reported in 2022, one of the victims recalled how she went to the church's Celebrity Center in Hollywood to report the assault, but instead of getting any assistance, she was warned against using the word rape and told that she could be excommunicated from the church and disavowed by her Scientologist family and friends if she contacted police. In response to these allegations, the Church of Scientology told BuzzFeed, "The church has no policy prohibiting or discouraging members from reporting criminal conduct of anyone, Scientologist or not, to law enforcement." Quite the opposite. Church policy explicitly demands Scientologists abide by all laws of the land. All allegations to the contrary are totally false. Number 2. Actor Ryan Grantham. Grantham was a successful child actor, notably playing Rodney James in the 2010 movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Later, he appeared in The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus and in a 2019 episode of the CW's Riverdale. All told, Grantham amassed more than 30 acting credits in film and television. On March 31, 2020, the then 21-year-old Grantham killed his mother by shooting her in the back of her head as she played piano in their British Columbia home. He then loaded up his car with guns and ammunition and began driving east with a plan to kill Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He ultimately changed his mind and considered carrying out a mass shooting at his alma mater, Simon Fraser University, before deciding to turn himself in. According to Grantham's lawyer, Grantham was assessed by 2 court-appointed psychiatrists who agreed that at the time of this horrendous event, he, Grantham, was suffering from a major depressive disorder and a cannabis use disorder, among other things. Grantham pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and, at his sentencing, pledged to spend his life rehabilitating himself and helping others. He is eligible for parole in 2036 after serving 14 years. Number 3. Baseball player Mel Hall. In 1981, Hall broke into the major leagues with the Chicago Cubs at just 20 years old and went on to finish 3rd in voting for the Rookie of the Year award. He played 13 seasons in total, including 4 with the New York Yankees, and retired with 134 home runs and a career .276 batting average. In 1989, during Hall's first year with the Yankees, he noticed a 15-year-old freshman in high school and her friends in the stands. He spent the game playfully pretending like he was going to toss her a ball, but never did. At the suggestion of her father, the girl wrote Hall a letter asking for a signed ball. And to her shock, Hall called her house, inviting the family to another game. Soon, Hall ingratiated himself with the family, saying he was lonely with his new team. He began showing up at their home after games, sometimes in a limo, and hanging out with the girl, talking late into the night. Hall started helping the family financially, paying to put in a swimming pool and for the mother to quit her job, then moved in with them. He began dating the girl with her parents' consent and even took over the parents' primary bedroom with the girl. The parents moved into their daughter's room. This relationship continued for years. The Yankees even published a photo of Hall and the girl at her high school prom in their media book, until the girl, then a 19-year-old woman, broke things off and started her life anew. Once Hall's career ended, he became a girls' youth sports coach for both basketball and softball, and did the same thing, earning the trust of families of young girls on his teams that he liked. Again, moving into a family's home in one circumstance, and abusing the girls. Finally, in 2007, two of his victims found each other online, including one who was just 12 when Hall first assaulted her and went to the police. Hall was arrested, found guilty at trial, and convicted on 3 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 2 counts of indecency with a child. He received a sentence of 45 years in prison, with no chance of parole for 22 years and 4 months. Hall is incarcerated at H.H. Caulfield Unit in Tennessee Colony, Texas, and isn't eligible for parole until November 15, 2031. Number 4. Actor Amy Locane. Locane was an up-and-coming star in the early 90s, first starring opposite Johnny Depp in John Waters' cult classic Cry Baby, and then the critically acclaimed Blue Sky, which earned her a Young Artist Award nomination for Best Performance by a Youth Actress co-starring in a motion picture. She was also a regular on the hit primetime soap opera Melrose Place. She later retired from acting to raise her family. On the night of June 27, 2010, Locane was driving 53 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone when she crashed into a car driven by Fred Seaman, who was making a left-hand turn into his driveway. Seaman's wife, Helene, an NYU adjunct professor, was killed in the accident. When police arrived, Locane, who had been drinking at a friend's barbecue, was found to have a .23 blood alcohol level, more than 3 times the legal limit. Locane was convicted of second-degree vehicular homicide and assault by auto, but received a sentence of only 3 years in jail, 2 less than the minimum sentence for the offense. The judge cited the welfare of Locane's children in giving the shorter sentence. Locane, who joined Alcoholics Anonymous after the crash and is now sober, served 3 years behind bars before being paroled on June 12, 2015. But an appeals court subsequently found her initial sentence to be too lenient and resentenced her to 8 years in jail on September 17, 2020. She's currently incarcerated in New Jersey's Edna Mayhem Correctional Facility for Women. Number 5. Reality TV star Josh Duggar. Duggar is the oldest child of Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar, who became famous for their extremely large family of 19 children, as featured on the TLC reality show 19 Kids and Counting. The show often focused on Duggar and his wife Anna as they started their own family. In 2016, In Touch magazine obtained a police report that implicated Duggar as having children, including his sisters, when he was a teenager. At the time of the crimes, Michelle and Jim Bob didn't go to the police. Instead, they consulted with their church leaders and had an Arkansas state trooper give Duggar a very stern talk. The trooper was far from the ideal person to seek help from. He not only failed to report the crimes, but was later sentenced to 56 years in jail for child images. The release of the police report eventually led to a federal investigation of Duggar. After the authorities found child images on Duggar's computer at his used car dealership, they arrested Duggar on federal charges of receiving and possessing child images. At the trial, a Homeland Security agent described the images found on Duggar's computer as being in the top 5 of the worst I've ever had to examine. Duggar was found guilty and sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in prison. He is serving his sentence at the Federal Correctional Facility, FCI Segoville in Texas, and won't be eligible for possible release until October. to 2032. Number 6. Film producer Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein, co-founder of the movie company Miramax, produced many critically acclaimed hit films during the 90s and 2000s, including Pulp Fiction and Good Will Hunting. He won an Academy Award for producing Shakespeare in Love. After years of rumors, the New York Times published an investigation into Weinstein featuring the accounts of over a dozen women accusing the producer of harassment and abuse. A New Yorker article followed days later with even more allegations. These reports opened the floodgates, and soon, nearly 100 women, many very famous, came forward with accounts of Weinstein's abuse. Number 7. Reality TV star Jen Shah. Shah starred on Bravo's The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City for 3 seasons, earning a reputation for sharp one-liners, and, well, Drama Shah was criminally charged with conspiracy to commit money laundering and wire fraud in March 2021. She and her assistant were accused of orchestrating a telemarketer scam where they'd bilk their usually older victims out of large sums of money in exchange for services like website building and business coaching, which had little to no value. Nightline reported that a 75-year-old retiree in North Carolina named Trisha, she asked not to use her last name, invested more than half of her savings, $47,000, on coaching about a business she hoped to start. Another victim, World War II veteran Ralph Halleck, was scammed out of more than $100,000. He died by suicide at the age of 92. His family believes the scam contributed to his death. According to a sentencing memo from federal prosecutors, Shah often joked about the victim's suffering and her employees' ability to victimize them. Texts were also released between Shah and her co-conspirators discussing how they could keep their victims hooked and spending more money. Shah initially claimed she was innocent but eventually pleaded guilty to wire fraud. She was sentenced to serve 6.5 years and is incarcerated at FPC Bryan Prison in Texas. Number 8. Subway pitchman Jared Fogle. Fogle made national headlines in 1999 when, as a student at Indiana University, he lost 245 pounds on a self-created diet where he exclusively ate Subway every day. A small turkey sub, a large veggie sub, baked potato chips, and diet soda. He was soon hired by Subway to be their spokesperson and appeared in over 300 commercials between 2000 and 2015. Fogle's seemingly wholesome story was revealed to have a dark underbelly on July 7, 2015, when Fogle's Indiana home was raided by the FBI and Indiana State Police investigators who confiscated computers and DVD players. 2 months prior, Russell Taylor, the executive director of the Jared Foundation, a nonprofit that purported to fight childhood was arrested on federal child charges, and in the course of investigating, authorities discovered he had traded explicit videos of children as young as 6 years old with Fogle. Additionally, the FBI subpoenaed text messages Fogle traded in 2008 with a Subway franchisee he was having an affair with. The texts were damning. Fogle talked about children as young as 9 years old and tried to enlist her help to sleep with her 16-year-old cousin. Further investigation found that Fogle traveled to New York to have sex with a 7-year-old underage and offered adults finder's fee if they'd connect him with minors. Facing a possibility of 50 years in jail if he went to trial, Fogle pleaded guilty to 2 counts: distribution and receipt of child images, and traveling to engage in illicit sex with a minor. He was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison. Number 9. Musician R. Kelly. Sometimes called the king of R&B, Kelly is one of the best-selling music artists of all time, selling over 75 million records. I Believe I Can Fly and Ignition Remix are probably his best-known songs. He also wrote songs for other artists, including Michael Jackson's Number. Allegations of minors have followed Kelly for most of his career, but for a long time, he escaped accountability. In 1994, a then 27-year-old Kelly married his protege Aaliyah, who was just 15. Aaliyah ended the marriage when her family found out. 2 years later, a woman filed a civil suit against Kelly, alleging that he had a with her starting at age 15. Kelly settled the case out of court. In 2000, the Chicago Sun-Times reported that Chicago police had begun investigations into Kelly and allegations that he'd had a minor, but had to drop them due to a lack of cooperation from the accusers. In 2002, a video circulated of what was alleged to be Kelly urinating on an underage girl and engaging in sex. This led to Kelly being charged with 21 counts of child abuse. Shortly after that, Kelly was charged in Florida with 12 additional charges of producing child images after police raided Kelly's home and allegedly found images of him having a minor on a digital camera. The Florida charges, however, were thrown out when a judge ruled the police lacked probable cause for the search warrant. The Chicago charges ended in Kelly's favor too, when a 2008 trial ended with him being found not guilty because it couldn't be proven the girl on the tape was a minor. In 2017, BuzzFeed News reported that the parents of 3 legal-aged young women claimed their daughters were being held against their will by Kelly in what was described as a cult. This led to others coming forward with more allegations against Kelly, including that he'd had minors. Then, in 2019, a comprehensive 6-hour Lifetime documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, put Kelly and his crimes under the spotlight even more. Police in Chicago charged him with 10 counts of aggravated criminal abuse after acquiring a tape of Kelly allegedly having a 14-year-old. And federal authorities indicted him twice for crimes related to his sexual. Number 10, rock star Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter, real name Paul Gadd, was a popular British glam rock star of the 70s and 80s. He sold over 20 million records and released scores of hit singles in the UK, including Rock and Roll Part 2, which has been played endlessly at sporting events across America. In 1997, Glitter brought his laptop in to be repaired, and the technician found of children on the hard drive. After police searched Glitter's home and found more images of children, he was arrested and eventually sentenced to 4 months in jail. After being released, Glitter left the UK, where he'd become persona non grata, celebrities who threw away their fame, fortune, and freedom for actions that devastated their victims and shocked their fans. Their stories serve as powerful reminders that no one is above the law, regardless of their status or success. What do you think about these cases? Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.